And we are back once again. What's happening? Thanks for tuning in to the Still Knick Fans podcast. This is episode 6. I'm your man Ron. This is my brother John. What's happening, man?
What's going on, Ron? What's
We back at it.
going on?
Hey, man.
Yeah, this was a special week, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, can't have any complaints at all. This was not what I expected. If we're going by what I called, I was totally wrong.
That's 2 weeks in a row.
Let's go. Listen, when I'm right, I'm right, and if I'm wrong, but I'm right, I'm still happy. Knicks need to keep proving me wrong. I like it.
Yeah, that's great, right? That's pretty awesome that we get an opportunity to see the Knicks come true come out of this week. I think on the bright side, you know what I mean. I
Right.
think we've done a really good job on this break. I know we have one more game tomorrow, or maybe when we post this, it will be today.
Mhm.
So it's gonna be interesting to come up against Portland on Sunday. Um, and yeah, man. But I think that for the most part, the week's games were pretty interesting. So, what were your takes on this week's games? We'll start with you, and then I'll jump in.
Well, overall, I could say that I was pleasantly surprised by the effort they put forward all week. Um, they definitely did not lay down. They decided to come out and play their game to the best of their abilities, I think. And it was really entertaining, man. Starting with the Boston Celtics and then transitioning from there, I'm still kind of a little bit in shock. Like, I don't know if this is the Knicks that I think that I don't know if these are the real Knicks, or was this just one of those weeks where like things just fell into place, like everything worked out perfectly. Um,
Yeah.
but hey, I'm happy either way. This was it was a good time for me as a Knicks fan. I need more of this in my life. I didn't get a lot of this last year, so I'm I'm definitely cool with everything that happened. When we get into the breakdowns of the games, I get a little more in depth on how I felt about their showing and what they did. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm ecstatic about what I saw this week so far.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I mean, so many times last year, we will turn on games and, we'll be hoping that we'll be at least very like coming up close or finishing games close last year, and we were just getting blown out on the regular, and that was hard. That was hard to watch. I've spent many a nights staying up, especially during these games, these late West Coast games. And then at the
Mhm.
end of it, like it's like feeling defeated all the way through. You know what I mean? It's like, oh well, you try to figure out ways to just cope with losing just like so often. You know what I mean? And not to make any excuses and everything, but we've always been kind of the blunt of everyone's jokes. In the last few decades. So things are starting to change, man. We're starting to look right. ESPN is highlighting us. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of
Right.
fake Knicks fans over there who are now, giving us props. But it is what it is, man. I'm just happy that I'm able to see a game and enjoy, the kind of winning spirit and the intensity that they brought the last few games. That's been key for me, and I'm starting to see some growth, man. And I'm sure we'll talk about it as we build on these recaps. So, what was our first game of the week? Was it Boston?
It was Boston. That is the first one we go to. Let me pull up the stats. Um, see here. Put this puppy on. Um, yeah, and the thing about this game was, I had called this as going to be. I said this was going to be a loss. I didn't even want to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about. This is just an L. Just drop it down on your books. The L is coming, and and lo and behold, look at that score. Guess I was a little wrong about this one.
What were your what were your reasons behind that though? What was your thought process behind that? I'm sure there
Well,
was some thinking about Tatum and stuff.
yeah. First off, I thought that one, the Knicks going to be necessarily prepared for the pace that the Celtics play with, and I don't think that they have faced many teams with the type of team defense that the Celtics have. So I thought that was going to be a problem. You got a team that moves the ball up and down the court. They got some young guys on the team. Then you got a team that is one of the best perennial team defensive um, I keep using the word team, but that's what they are. One of the best perennial defenses in the league. And
Right, right.
then you got to deal with the fact that Jaylen Brown has turned into a very solid NBA player in the league. He's starting to show a little bit of that stardom that you hope for with young guys. And you got Tatum, who has turned into a bona fide star. And I thought the combination of those two with the tough defense and the Knicks' inability to effectively score consistently, that looks like an L to me. Now, fortunately,
Right.
came out and Tatum was a scratch because of COVID concerns or what have you. So he's still under the protocol at this time. So he wasn't playing. And I didn't factor that in. But still, the fact that they put up this amount of 30 points on him, I would not have expected that.
Yeah, I'm looking at this game and I'm seeing, and I didn't know that we were coming back, or actually that our native player, what's his name, from the Boston made the comeback. What's the point guard's name? I'm drawing a
Oh,
blank right now.
uh, man, that's
Well, let's scroll down. Let's scroll
yeah.
down.
Let
Scroll
me go
down.
take a look at it. I'm like, why is I'm catching a blank? Uh,
Yeah, so am I.
did he start? No, he. Uh, huh.
Walker.
Kimba, right?
It's
No,
Walker.
yeah, I couldn't think of his
Yeah,
name.
Kemba. I
Weird.
don't know why I forgot his first name. But I didn't expect him to play. I didn't know he was on his way back. And I agree. I didn't think that Tatum was not gonna play. But we've seen strange things happen this year, and there may be some signs there that show that we've played some really top teams with not all their players. I think the one team that we did face that had a full squad was the Bucks, I believe. I want to say it
Yeah,
was the Bucks. They had like a full on squad,
yeah,
and I think we won by 30 also. So that was this has been interesting. But again, I to kind of coincide there, or to try to I can't find any fault with that, because the reality is the Knicks haven't been fully healthy either. So it's very difficult to say, oh, we've played teams that are unhealthy. But the reality is we've also been unhealthy too. We haven't been full squatted up at all this season. So it's always one or two people out. So with that said, I think this was an amazing performance. I think the defense stepped it up. It was very ugly, a very gritty game. It was a very ugly game. A lot of bricks, a lot of bad shots taken. But listen, we came on top. Boston shot horribly from the field, but I don't expect to see that happen the next time we see them. I think they'll be shooting a lot better, and they'll probably have Tatum. So
yeah. No, I agree with you. But at your point, in fairness to them, when you make the point of us having some players that were out of the game too, but they were missing their best player. So that's like if the Knicks went
yeah,
out there without Randall and his 20 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals, might be a different type of ball game. So, but I hear you. You're right. We were missing key pieces as well, and they
yeah.
actually were missing. hold on. I don't want to butcher his name. Let's see here. What they were missing somebody. Oh, he's not even
He
on the list.
he may not have been on the
Yeah, they
list
were
yet.
missing one of their key defensive players that they have. That's a solid player, and I can't remember his name right now. Um, if anybody can think of this, just put that in on the YouTube at the bottom and comment on which Celtic player they were missing. That is the defensive player. I can't remember that. He doesn't do a lot of scoring, but defensively he's a presence. So all in all,
Yeah.
it's still a very good win for the Knicks. A surprise to me that a pleasant surprise. I'm very happy about it. So
Right.
I'm I don't think there's much more that I need to say about this game, but I will say one thing that I pinpointed, in the previous episode. If you look at the minutes. 31, 28, 24, 23, 29, much more manageable. I don't want to see the high 30s and the 40s. This is
Hmm.
a good sign. A good sign.
And plus, we had a kind of a healthy top end. We had quickly back. Noel played, Rivers played, so you got the majority of your folks almost back. I mean, the garbage time I don't consider enough. We were up enough that there was some like these 4 minutes of garbage time, but I think he spread it out evenly, and we had enough players to do so. So I think that's key.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that that's definitely a good thing. You know, they you can see that Tibbs is starting to expand on the rotation a little bit. It was kind of like that solid eight
Mhm.
man thing. Now then he went to nine, and I think if I'm not mistaken, he might have even touched 10 in a couple of the games. So I like the fact that he's playing more guys. He understands like you can't keep playing these. One, it's not good to play these guys normally like this. He's had that issue in the past where he runs guys now, but now in this new season we're in, where we're playing 72 games, it's condensed. There's a lot of back to backs. There's a lot of games happening within these weeks. They're playing like 4 or 5 games easy. Maybe I think there's one team that has to
Yeah.
play 6 games in a week. Only it's just a weird scheduling. But like this is a lot, and teams aren't even able to practice. So you got to take it easy. Got to get more guys involved.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's always been a concern in the back of most, fans' mind right now, thinking about his history and overworking guys and overplaying, their minutes and keeping the young studs minutes high is very, it's hard for folks to see, especially barring injuries, in the past. But I think he understands his team, and I think he's also trying to get them ready to make a run at something later, and I think you have to be well prepared to do so. And if you don't put on the minutes, like game time minutes, then you won't really know what that is. If you know what I mean, like if you're not on the court and you aren't playing those heavy minutes, you aren't going to be ready for those big game moments, So it's you kind of like it's like that catch 22 again. It's like if you don't utilize them, they don't learn. But then the opposite effect can happen. You can overwork them. So there's going to have to be some sort of balance there, and hopefully it works out for him. Hopefully it works out for our team and our players don't get hurt first and foremost. But also hopefully they can start, um, really, really taking heed to what kind of practices or the things that he's preaching as far as work ethic, and I think they are. I mean, this week is evident how good they play together.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Uh, they definitely came out and they were working as a one unit, and I think that kind of transitioned and it went straight into the next game. But the thing about the next game was they played the Orlando Magic, and you don't quite know exactly what you're going to get when you play Orlando. Um, the, they're not a great team by any stretch of the imagination this year. Um, and I think that the Knicks kind of, I don't know if they just weren't hot or what do you call it? Like maybe they just didn't have that same, like, oh, we're playing Orlando. Maybe they weren't up for the game as much. Because sometimes you go
Mm,
into these matchups like, oh, I'm going to play Boston. This should be exciting. We're going to play. We know they're a good team. We got to really kind of, do everything we can to win. And I'm not saying they
right,
played down to Orlando. I'm just saying they didn't necessarily get up for the game. It's like, okay, we're just playing
right.
the Magic. It's a game.
They gave it seemed like they gave them ample opportunities to win that game.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but listen, I'm glad we came away with the win.
Uh,
That's the
a win is a win
that's
is
the
a
one that
win.
counts. Oh,
We'll take the
right.
wins. We'll take the wins. So you know what? Let me
Exactly.
let me pull up the box score for the Orlando Magic game, and so we can see what actually took place there because it wasn't pretty. This is not something you want to use as a blueprint to teach the kids. Hey, this is how you play basketball. but
Uh,
but it was a victory nonetheless. So that's
I always find it amazing how Peyton plays really well when he's playing against his old former team.
yeah.
Like he it's always a little extra for players that come back to play against their older teams.
It's funny how that
You
works.
know.
It's funny how that works. It always seems to be the case. Like if you take a look at this game, minutes wise, a little bit more of more usage here because the game was so sloppy, and the Knicks needed to win the game. So I think this was one of those where it wasn't an easy game, and the shooting definitely was left a lot to be desired, but they pulled it out.
Hmm.
Behind 39 minutes from Randall and 38 minutes from Barrett. Uh, Barrett had a very nice game, 22, 10, and 4, and Julius with 21 and 17.
Yeah.
Can't be mad at those numbers.
Yeah. This is one of those games. This was one of those games for both of them that they were pretty solid in their approach. Barrett was hitting his mid game, and then stretched it out, or at least he tried to stretch it out. But where he went over 3 from the 3-point line. But I think all in all, he did everything else really really well. And he attacked the basket when it was in crucial moments of the game. So all in all, can't complain about the effort. Quickly dropped 11. That's great. I mean, I don't have much to say in this one other than it was another gritty game. You know what I mean? Like they fought hard towards the end. They 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 got some stops at the end, and then they took advantage of the inabilities of Orlando. So I
Um,
don't know what anything else you want to add to this. Like,
I mean,
what do you thought about?
this one, it's true. It's not that much to add to the game itself. This is just one of those you're happy your team that you root for got the win. It wasn't pretty to watch, but at least in the end, you know, they got the W. One thing I will say is
Mhm.
uh, Thibodeau played 10 guys this game, and these are not garbage minutes. This is just him utilizing different guys. The only guy who played, the least amount of minutes was Toppin. He played 9 minutes, and that was primarily because of the flow of the game. The game was um, at such a bad pace, and the shooting wasn't really up to par. That I think Tibbs was just trying to get the guys in there that would, get the victory for him. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for
Yeah,
this.
there's one thing we could say that's been consistent though. The defense has come into play for the most part. Like we've kept teams under their scoring averages for most of since the beginning of the season. To be honest, like we've I mean, I guess that's the reason why we've been in first place, right? This year and on defensive end,
That's
we
right.
play a slow pace game. We do play a slow pace game, but I don't know. I look at this and say, well, even this only helps us contain the scoring on the other team. If we play our slow pace game and we're able to be efficient, I don't mind it. I don't have to run up and down the court all the time. But I am enjoying, and we'll talk about it when they hit Golden State. They really ran with that team a little bit more than they did with against other teams, because it was almost like you giving us an opportunity to have a transition basket. We're gonna go for it. And it looked like there was a bit of a change there. This game, we didn't see it. This game was like a rough it, tough it out game. You know what I mean? A lot of bad calls by the refs. I remember that. I remember there was like some horrible calls by the ref. Both teams were chippy. Everybody was arguing, getting upset. I know Terrence, what's his kid's name? Is it Terrence? I forget the kid from Orlando.
Oh, Ross.
Terrence Ross, yeah.
Yeah.
I know he was having one of those games where he was like ineffective and he was angry, and he threw up some wild shots. One of them went in, and I think they tied the game, which was crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was what he didn't see the shot clock. They were yelling at him. He just threw it up and it went right. Oh, man. Yeah,
And he tied it, right? He tied
yeah,
it. I think he
yeah.
tied it.
That was
Yeah.
bad.
That,
Yeah,
that was one of those moments for me. I was like, come on, man.
yeah. That's exactly what happened, man. Hey, it is what it is. But you did make a good point to bring up the fact that they have been playing very good defense. They held the Celtics to 75 points, Orlando 84 points. Anytime you hold a
Mhm.
team under 90 points, you have a good chance of winning a basketball game. So they definitely have been
Right.
doing that. They did that here. Um,
Absolutely.
so I don't have much more to say about that game. Um, as we move forward, the next game on the list was the Golden State Warriors, and if there was a game that I wasn't sure about, I had them, I had the Knicks losing this game, right? But I do know that Golden State is one of those teams where, surprisingly, without Klay Thompson, they're not the same team.
Hmm. Right.
Now maybe I think his shooting is great. He's definitely a great shooter. So what that does for them is that spells Curry, because Curry he can be lights out the majority of the time, but sometimes he's cold. He has those off games where he can't hit anything,
Right.
and usually the great synergy that team has had is when Steph is off, Clay is on, and vice versa.
Right.
They always got one of those guys scoring, and then they used to get help from somebody, from the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So now that you got Steph with Draymond, and then a bunch of young guys who are still trying to find
Hmm.
out who they're going to be in the league, second year players. Then you got, rookies like Wiseman, who Wiseman looks like he's going to be a very good player. He just needs more
Right.
time to grow and learn his game, learn his spots on the court, get his special moves down. He looks like he could be special, but right
What's
now,
the kid's age? He's young, right? He's like, he's not a 4 year guy, right? He's
no,
a
he's not a
1 year and
4 year
out.
guy. He's a 1 year and out. So
So he's like 19 or something like that, right?
yeah, he's very young, and that's the good thing. Like the it's also good that the Knicks are playing them early in the season rather than later in the season.
True. True.
So
One thing, and I'll go back to you. I just wanted to put this thought. Not only is Klay Thompson a really great scorer and a shooter, but he is also a really top defender.
oh no, he is.
You know what I
I
mean? One of
even
the
mentioned it.
best,
Yeah, he's one
actually.
of the
You
best.
know?
He's one of the best defenders in the league. Um,
Yeah.
and the reason why I didn't highlight it as much, which I really should, because his defense, is he's one of them lockdown type defenders in basketball, and it makes a
Yeah.
difference. And also, his defense creates offense, right? But I didn't
Right.
want to pinpoint it as much because I guess it's been so long since I've seen him on the court, and
Right.
the Warriors have been playing that style of like D'Antoni basketball. They've been trying to outscore everybody. So
Right.
I guess that's how I'm associating them these days. But
Yeah.
you're right. No, I can't shortchange the fact that Clay is one of the better defenders in the league.
Yeah. I mean, for me, if Clay's healthy and playing with this team, I mean, you have to put them up there with the Lakers. Like it's that's 1 and 2 right there. I wouldn't put anyone other than that, because when you had them healthy the prior years, they were right in there. At least the three of them, Draymond, like you have to consider them for a top 3 team in the West. With Thompson out, because the lack of a defensive player and the offense, you can't hold them to that. And now you could see it, you know what I mean, with the youngsters coming in and trying to play those positions. Even like Bazemore, he's a pretty good player. He plays good defense, but it's not the same quality player as a Klay Thompson. You know what I
No,
mean?
Clay's
So
special, and
he is
Clay can be, the star on any team.
right.
The whole offense can run through him. So, um, it is what it is. But let me pull up the stats for
Stats on the Golden States.
yeah. While I'm doing that, quick question: what did you think about the fact that you know Draymond got ejected? Do you think that was warranted or?
To be honest, I was happy he was gone. I didn't really care, because that just gives us an opportunity to take advantage. Look, to be honest, you play the game to win, right? And it ain't our fault as a Knick team that he was coming out his mouth to begin with that first quarter and got that first tech. He should have been smart enough to realize that, they were going to be paying close attention to him, even though he didn't, it may not be right, but you know what? It is what it is. If that referee felt a certain way about it and thought you were speaking about him, then so be it. But play the game. And to be honest, why are you screaming at Wiseman to begin with? It wasn't like he was the one who created the turnover. Like Draymond was turning the ball over left and right. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah,
that's
no,
that's those are the kind of leaders that I can't stand. A leader who's gonna complain about, and I don't want to curse, but they want to complain about other players not doing this, not doing that, but yet you're part of the problem right now because you're turning over the ball. You're playing as the days go on defense. You're not doing your job, but now you want to highlight when I'm doing something wrong. You know what I mean? Like those are the worst sort of leaders, and I think that may be one of the reasons why Durant said, "Yo, I gotta go." You know what I'm saying? Like I can't deal with this dude. That could be the reason. So listen,
well,
Draymond, whether it was whether it was right or wrong, listen, as a Knicks fan, I'm happy he got teed up and got the hell out of there. It made the opportunity for us to win that much greater, and it showed on the court. I want to say it did show on the court. You could tell that it would have been a lot closer had Draymond been there in the fourth quarter, third quarter. When they went on their little spurt.
no, I agree with you. I think that that definitely would have made a difference. But hey, as a Knicks fan, I'm very happy that it turned out the way it did. So good job, Draymond. Continue to do you. uh, yeah, yeah. No, don't bother me at all. Yeah, keep it going. Um, I think um, I think
Sure, you do that every time we see
yeah, yeah. I
you.
think if you look at the game and the stats, once again, RJ got busy, as far as scoring, 28 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. The other categories not so much, but the fact that he came out the first half, he was on fire and he put up most
Okay.
of his points then. And the Knicks needed it. And then you got Julius with 16, 17, and 9, almost a triple double. Uh, you know,
Solid numbers all around. Mitchell Robinson, Bullock, like the starting five got busy.
Yeah, no, they definitely they did they came to play. And I don't
I'll
know
take that on a regular.
if anybody else. Oh,
The
Burks
biggest,
had at 11.
yeah, Burks 11. The biggest takeaway for me is you started to see the offense open up some new sets. You know what I mean in this game. Like it looks like they had a chance to practice. I think they did. They had a chance to practice. They came into this game and they started utilizing some of those new sets. And those new sets were predicated on Barrett being the focal point. versus Randall, and that was good to see because now you're able to see Barrett handle the ball and make decisions out there versus Randall. I mean, Randall still had the ball in his hands at times and had to make decisions, but you really seen a lot more. Look at that, it's 10. He went 10 for 17. You know what I mean? So listen, that's great. He had the ball in his hands. He had the opportunity. He made the decisions, and we came up on victorious. So, and this is one of those games where you got to give credit to Peyton because his effort on defense was crazy, and you're up against an all-star like Curry, who didn't shoot a really good percentage from the field, but all in all, you like the effort, and he took tough shots all game. So got to be happy about that.
Yeah, and this was actually when you brought up practice, the before the Boston game, the day before they had a great practice, they said. The day before this Warriors game, they had a really good practice. So, and maybe that showed on the court. They had a good game plan for how to deal with Curry. They know they're not going to stop Curry. Curry's going to score, but you just want to try to limit the damage, because he's scary, man. He had that little spurt where he hit like 8 points in a few minutes, and I was like, oh boy, here we go. I was hoping they were able to withstand that, and they did. But yeah, you're right. Peyton deserves, big props for running around because he was running around with Curry everywhere he went and making it tougher for Curry. You can't totally stop a guy like
Hmm.
that, but you can definitely make it harder for him to get the shots off, um, and see what happens from there. And once again, if you look at the Knicks rotation, you see Thibodeau played 10 guys again, 10 guys, so that's good.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not mad at it. I like this rotation. This look right here works for me. There's, of course, there's an odd man out right here, and I don't know if Thibodeau is going to be going to 11, so we got to kind of pay attention to that because there's no Austin Rivers because he's currently supposedly hurt. But I think that's more of the season thing. Burks came back. We need to let Burks play, so let Austin get a little rest. I think that's what's going on. But it's fine. I'm cool with it either way.
Right, right.
The one thing I've noticed this year that I never noticed in the past with Reggie Bullock, he is a solid basketball player. I know he could shoot, but I didn't realize like on the defensive end, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He's a good defender. Um,
Listen,
so
and he rebounds. He rebounds. I mean, there's been games that he'll come away with 8 rebounds. He'll get in there, but then he's also one of those players that make boneheaded mistakes. You know what I mean? Like
mhm.
throwing the ball behind the backboard and crucial moments of a game. So it's like you got to take the good with the bad with Bullock. You know what I mean? But one thing you do know is that he's going to come out, he's going to play hard, and he's going to shoot those shots when he has them open. You know what I mean? And there's kind of no fear, which you like. My thing is that if you ain't got it going from the 3-point line, do what you've done sometimes during games where you've come into the perimeter and like pulled up, for an easy 10-footer or something. Like bring it to the basket. Like I like that Burke. They kind of switches it around and isn't just predicated on the 3-point line. I think that gives us the opportunity too to work to play around him. And I like the 2-man game with him and Randall. You see that a lot. They do like the little pick and pop the kind of roll over the 3-point line where he hands off the ball and he kind of has the option to shoot. They play off each other pretty well. So I like to see that. Um, I don't know. That's a good question, man. If we go 10, who doesn't get those minutes? I don't know. Who you think it would be? What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's tough, man.
That's a
That
tough
is
one.
tough because these guys all are been playing their little piece. They've been kind of important at different times. Like, and so it's interesting. You gotta play Top, and Top has got to get out there and he's got to get his feet wet and learn how to play the game. The starters are the starters; they're not going nowhere. Burks is going to get his because he's already shown that he's an integral part of the team. Quickly, you can't not play quickly. Uh, I think it
You go
comes
down
down.
the line and you're like, you
Yo, it's
can't
getting
play. You
rough.
got to play this guy.
It's getting tough. I think the only odd man out at this point that I can look at is Knox. And Knox has played well for the most part of the season, but he kind of got a little quiet this week. And he's not picking a good time to get quiet with Burks being back. So, and he's still
Question for
young.
you: Would you mind going small and playing Randall at the 5 or Mitchell at the 5 with the rotation of, or even like Knox in there versus Noel? Like going small. Like for me, I guess it depends on the matchups, and this is all going to be on Tibbs, how he plays his guys, who he has confidence in during the games when it's in crucial times, specifically the fourth quarter, who's going to play the end of the game. I think that's going to be where we really see who he has confidence in. My guess is that he's going to want Rivers out there, and he's going to want Randall and Barrett. The rest is unknown. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I'm just happy that we're having this discussion, that we're actually sitting here talking about who is not going to get the minutes and how hard is that going to be, because everybody's played a pretty good part this year,
Yeah. No, that's
like,
great.
you're not like shipping everybody away like we were last year. We were like, oh, I'm done with this guy and I'm done with that guy, and Knox better step it up or he's gone too. And you know what I'm saying? Like there was always that conversation from all of us, from all Knicks fans. You know what I'm saying? Like I think right now, I mean, it's without doubt that we're not the most talented team, and we said this over before in earlier episodes. We're not the most talented team, but we got young kids who we can potentially develop to become something, even a viable starter. Like that's the potential. But can we get them there? Are they able to stick around long enough to be a part of that growth? I'm just happy that they're playing strong. They're playing within the system that Tibbs has created, and they're going for it, man. That everyone goes out there and it goes for it, even when Knox isn't on his game as like shooting game and he's not effective. He's playing pretty good defense in comparison to the last couple of years. You know,
Yeah, I
in
agree
the
with you.
passing lane, they're out there. They're blocking shots. They're tipping things. You know what I mean? Like they're active. You know.
I agree with you. I'm with you, man. We're gonna have to, wait and see. It's just gonna be one of those things where somehow it'll work itself out in the grand scheme of things. But I wouldn't mind a lineup of maybe Randall at the center, Toppin at the 4, then Knox at the 3, Barrett at the 2, and I guess Peyton at the 1.
Why
And
not quickly?
well, because
Why not?
I know with all those guys that I mentioned, I don't hear the defensive stopper. So I know Tibbs would probably want Peyton out there to give some type of defensive presence because, Toppin is not the greatest defender yet. I mean, he can
Yeah.
learn to be. Randall's not the greatest defender. Knox
Right.
is not the greatest defender. And then Barrett, once again, he's playing better
Right.
team defense, but individually,
Right.
not the greatest defender. So I just think that's how it balances out.
Yeah, I'm just glad that the effort's there, man. And whatever Tibbs decide, I'm sure the guys are gonna buy in and they're gonna go 100%. And I think some games we're gonna have it, some games we're not. You know what I mean? I think that's just gonna be the scope of the season. We may win games that we're not supposed to win. You know what I'm saying? And lose games that we think we will win. But
Yeah.
all in all, what we're right now 8-9 or 9-8. No, 8-9, right? Because
Hmm.
we took a loss the next game, right?
Hmm.
Unfortunately, we lost to Sacramento after a 3-game winning streak. But that's what I'm saying. Like that to me is how the season is going to be. Whether or not we win enough games to make the playoffs is still to be seen. But I think if we keep this momentum up, we'll be around 500. We'll be at that point where we can decide our own fate, and let's see how it goes, man. I'm excited, man. This is just fun basketball we've been able to watch,
No, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. This has definitely been fun, because you know what? It's just been so much losing over the past few years with this team that to see them doing this stuff and playing good against good teams. I'm happy. I'm happy. I know they're not. Do I think they could possibly eventually make the playoffs if they keep playing the way they're playing? The way the NBA is situated this year, there's a possibility, right? But do I want that?
Mhm.
Probably not. Like the best case scenario for
Well,
me,
why not? Because we
well,
get draft picks, because
yeah,
we have the
honestly,
opportunity. Like,
yeah. You know why? Because I got to look at it like, do I want to trade Julius Randle? I may have in the past thought that that was the way things had to be done, but realistically, Julius Randle's been playing great basketball. You know,
right.
um, do you want to give up on a guy who's all in and he's doing everything he needs? He came into camp, camp or whatever you want to call it, came into this season in the best shape he's ever been in. He lost weight, and he's doing all these different things to help the team win. That's not a guy
Mhm.
you want to give up on. I think you want to keep him
Right.
for as long as you can keep him, as long as it's not a hindrance to the rest of the team. If it becomes one of
Mhm.
those things where the Knicks are losing basketball games, but Julius is getting his, then maybe you got to say, all right, we got to get rid of him so that way we can get other pieces to help the team grow. But right
Right.
now, it's working out. So
Right.
my point is like, I think that the Knicks need to stay the course and keep doing what they're doing. If they wind up somehow backing into the playoffs, great, and then go from there. Whatever, put your best foot forward. But if they keep playing this way and narrowly miss the playoffs, I wouldn't be upset because that gives them a chance at a lottery pick. And
Right.
the way the system is set up now, as long as you got a ball in that little lottery system they got, anybody could get the first pick. And no matter, you can't tank anymore because you're not guaranteed any good picks. So just
True. And we have a lot of draft picks right now coming up, so which is great. It's good to see us, rack, we've snatched them up, from other teams this year. So I'm happy about that. And the one thing that I have to say about that is from what we've seen in this last draft and the kind of the magical things that we've noticed from Leon Rose, you know what I mean? Like, even like small little trades to come up a little bit on the board or to drop down a bit, like, and get the player that you want. I mean, it was sort of magical. No one thought we would have top and fall on our laps. You know what I mean? To be honest, we got, like Halliburton had a great game. We had the option of either choosing one or the other. You know what I mean? So we would have had a good player either way. Um, but they've done magical things to get quickly at, what was it, 24 or 22?
24.
24, right? And we went down to 24. And then I think we got a draft pick from that. You know what I mean? So, like, you got to like that. You got to like that. So, either way, however it falls, I think we're going to be okay. I think we got some really strong execs that are doing their job. That, I think the scouting is spot on. So, I'm looking forward to it, man. Either way, I'm going to enjoy this season, man. We would have never thought that we would have been at where we're at today. You know what I mean? In our
Yep.
wildest dreams, we would have never thought this
No,
would to
I, I
happen.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. And hopefully, like I said, um, it depends on what you call best case scenario. Best case
Right,
scenario for me is they play just to the point where they're on the cusp of the playoffs, but they don't get in. Their pick becomes
right.
a lottery pick. Dallas doesn't make the playoffs. Our pick from them
That
becomes a
would be
lottery pick.
amazing.
Then you've got two chances at landing some real in this draft coming up. Ooh wee! I'm
Yeah, no, I
really
keep hearing that.
oh, this is gonna be the one. I can't wait.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let me pull up these this Sacramento
The
Kings game here,
Sacramento
man.
stats.
Sacktown.
After this loss, I wasn't. I didn't feel angry about it. You know what I mean? Like, it was a disappointing one. Is like we had an opportunity. It wasn't disappointed, like like I've had like the disappointing. I had some disappointing games this year. Like we had some like the game that I thought we should have won that we lost against Cleveland. You know what I mean? I thought we should have won that game, but we lost that game. That was a disappointing loss. There was a few others. The OKC game, you know what I mean? I thought we should have won. We lost. But this one I wasn't too upset about. You look, I knew Fox was. I mean, DeAndre. What's his name?
De'Aaron Fox.
De'Aaron Fox was going to do his thing. I don't even know what did he score, but I know he was hot early on, and
Uh,
Peyton couldn't really hold him down.
De'Aaron finished with what did he finish with? 22.
Okay, so it's not crazy. When he shot 7 for 20, I could have sworn he made his first 6 shots.
He might have started off real hot
You know what I'm saying?
and then tailed off. Yeah, yeah.
It must have. And I noticed that when and look, this is something. Now you remember you were saying that um 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 that Coach Tibbs wants to have a defensive point guard in the game. In
Mm-hmm.
this game, if you look at it, the first quarter, Payne was getting schooled by De'Aaron Fox. Like he scored, I think, the first 3 or 4 buckets of this game, and he seemed like he was going to be unstoppable. And then they took Payne out and quickly came in and got some stops. He disrupted De'Aaron's offensive game, and I think that was part of the reason why you see this 7 for 20. I think I want to give some props to Quickly. He played what 17 minutes. I think some of that
Yeah,
was Quickly's doing,
yeah. You
and
could.
Barrett,
You're right. You're right about that. Um, um, yeah, because I would say
So
that
it could happen. You could see Quickly.
it's a possibility. It's a possibility. But I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna say it's a a done deal yet until I see a little bit more of Quickly on the defensive end. Because offensively, I know the guy
Right.
can score. I know he can if he's aggressive with trying to get his shot. I know he'll be fine. It's just that he seems to not always look for his shot the way he should. But defensively is what I really want to pay attention to him because for him, this is his first go around in the league. That's the thing about rookies. It's your first time playing all of these NBA players, knowing what they like, knowing where to be on the court, and how to defend them.
Right.
Where a guy like Peyton knows all of these guys already. He's seen all of them, and if he hasn't necessarily seen one, he's seen somebody that's similar to that guy. So it's a little easier for
Right.
him. Um, but look at this game. This was one of those that the Knicks didn't have the best type of game. The shooting was not great. I mean, 3 for 14 for Burks, 3 for 9 for Quickly, 3 for 12 for Payton,
Mhm.
0 for 3 for Bullock. Bullock had 0 points in 21 minutes. What?
Yeah. I mean, I look at the game, he had more turnovers than points, right? Or did he have 0 turnovers? Did he have 0 turnovers? No, he didn't have any turnovers.
No,
But I know he didn't have any turnovers. But yeah, I just don't. I just think like ineffective all the way around. I seen there were parts of the game we were down like 10 in the first quarter. We made a comeback. By the end of the first quarter, we were winning that quarter by 1, or were we tied? We were up 1. Second quarter, it was a close game back and forth. I could look at the score card upstairs, up above, and we ended the half up by 4. We come into the third quarter, we stink it up. Turnovers by Barrett, turnovers by Peyton, and a few costly turnovers by Randall. And there you go. That's the game right there. Because now, fourth quarter, you continue that trend. You know,
Mhm.
we were right in the game. I think in the fourth quarter, we got it down by 2. I want to say, right?
Yeah,
and then someone turned it over. So
yeah, yeah.
it was one of those games, man.
And really, it was the game was one of those where the Knicks were not playing well and they weren't helping themselves. They were shooting themselves in the foot. And then there was a stretch where I think it was 8 minute or 7 minute mark where Randall came back in the game. Well, the starters came back in the game, um, and Randall just took over. And he was doing it, trying to do everything he could to get them back in the game, and he cut it to two. Well, they cut it to two, but I want to say him because he scored all the points to get him to that point. But as fate would have it, a team like Sacramento, which is the worst defensive team statistically in the league right now, decided to play good defense.
Um,
They triple
I
team,
forgot about that.
they double team Randall, and they put the Knicks in
Yeah,
a
they
in
did.
a precarious situation. Oh, the Clyde's coming out of me, precarious. Um, they didn't
I
know how
see
to
that.
handle it. They didn't know how to handle it. So it is what it. The funny
When you
thing
say
is,
words like that, when you say words like precarious, when you bring out the Wolf Frazier, I want you to bring out that flashy tie you wear to work every day.
yeah,
You got a closet full of those nice ties
I'm
that
sure
Clyde likes
I'm
to wear.
sure I have one or two. But in the end, Randall finished with 26 and 15. And I wanted to bring up something because I
Solid
thought
game, man.
I agree with you. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. I was watching Knicks Fan TV because I support the guys and Ashley.
Yeah,
Um,
good show. That's a great show.
yeah,
The squad, I like to put
there's
it
a
now.
squad
The
now. There's a
squad.
squad now. And I think one of the callers had called in, and he said that they're so surprised at Randall. I mean, they're so used to referring to him as dubious handles. When I heard that, I couldn't stop laughing, dude. I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
That's hilarious.
Dubious handles. That's a crazy name, man. But no, he's no more dubious
That's funny.
handles. This is Julius Randle now, man. Respect the man. We gotta respect this
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
So
he had that in and out game going too. He had a few on the key. He was like, "Eek, give me some of that." It was he's come together, man, real nicely, man. Listen, I don't know if he's going to stick around past the trade deadline. If he doesn't, I'm hoping that we get some really good we get some really good assets for him, and some picks. Um, and if he sticks around, so be it. Hopefully, they can figure out a way that he can play alongside Toppin, and hopefully Toppin could really mature to a perimeter slasher. Right now I don't know if his handle's there yet. He may be able to do it. Right now when I see him on the court, he reminds me so much of Stoudemire. It's crazy. Now, if he could get a little bit of matrix in this game, now I'm gonna go to the Suns, right? Because
ooh,
they played
Sean
together,
Marion, huh?
right? So if he could do a little bit of what Sean Marion could do, then we got something. Because he's 6'9". Sharon Marion was 6'9", but his game right now is very similar to Stoudemire's. You know what I mean? So we'll see, man. Let's see if he can develop to something like a Marion, because that I would like to see alongside Randall and Barrett. That would be a nice and quickly. Woo! And Mitch has been
Yeah,
a beast.
that would be
Mitch
nice.
is
Yeah,
well, man.
I think the Knicks somehow in the off season, if he's willing to do it, it would be nice for Stoudemire and Toppin to get together, and Stoudemire kind of help him, understand some of his offensive moves. Toppin obviously
Unleash the
needs to
beast.
learn. He needs to learn defense from someone else, but
Yeah,
but offense is not bad. Let's go with Stoudemire for that. Um,
true.
Speaking of that,
You don't. I'm sorry. You don't see him. You don't see him playing in the perimeter a lot more though. Where Stoudemire played the high post. You know what I mean, and the pick and roll on the high post.
I mean,
I don't see him playing that.
I see him in the perimeter more, but I think that the bread and butter for him to be in order to be able to stay in the league and command the minutes He's gonna have to learn how to get points in the box. He's got to have to get in that lane, and he's gonna have to learn some moves down low. Because the way I'm looking at his game right now, and I don't know, I'm gonna actually when I have some time, I'm gonna go back and look at Dayton tapes and see how he played to understand a little bit more about him. Because when you look at the highlight reels, you see dunks. So I want
Yeah.
to see more than just dunks. I want to see like how he. I saw how he could shoot the three, yeah, but I want to see how he did down low, like how he was able to get his shot off. Because maybe he didn't go up against as much defense, you know, because man,
He was stronger than everybody.
yeah, he
He
was
was
stronger
stronger than
than it.
everybody. Flat out.
So
Yeah.
I want to see what he did and what he can build on. Maybe we'll talk about that the next time we get on. Um, and maybe that's a direction that he needs to learn how to be a little bit more. Practice that. He needs to work and be stronger at getting down low and finding certain moves to get him open. Hey, if this guy who has a decent shot, he shoots free throws good, he shoots the 3-pointer pretty good, fairly for his size. If he learns like a dream shake or something, you know,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
But for whatever reason, from the beginning of this season, when the talks were they may potentially play him at the three, in my mind, now that I'm seeing them in the perimeter, it looks like they want to develop him as a three. It looks like they want him to be a three. Now, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing when he's on the court. I see him in the perimeter and he's slashing. He may get a dunk or two because someone's playing a pick and roll, or maybe he's backdooring it. He hits the back door and they aren't paying attention, so he gets an easy, layup or alley oop. I think he's effective without the ball right now. I think once he figures out how to be effective with the ball, he'll be a problem. But I remember when we first talked, I thought he was a taller power forward. I thought he was about 6'10". You know what I mean? I really did. But it turns out he's like 6'8", 6'9". So maybe that's one of the reasons why they're looking at him and his build and saying, well, he can potentially become a solid three if he could work these elements into his game. Right now, I haven't seen much of that. I did notice, though, in transition, I see him trying to dribble the ball up court.
Hmm. Yeah,
So we'll see. We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. You're right. That could be what they're trying to do. I know one of the pieces of their blueprint is they wanted to get a stretch four. They weren't
Mm,
really able to do that. They had hoped to sign Bertans, but he
right.
re-signed with the Wizards. So that's the type of guy they would love to have on this team. And because of other
To
reasons,
be honest, I see that in Knox, though. You don't see that
yeah,
in Knox?
yeah. I mean, that's what Knox
That's what I
could
see.
be. I mean, he's 6'9", 6'10", right? So he could definitely.
6'11".
Is he 6'11"? Oh, okay. Well, he
Yeah,
doesn't play like it. He definitely plays like he's
that's
smaller. Yeah.
the problem. Right. That's the
Um.
problem. Him and Durant are similar in size.
mm,
You know, they're tall. You know what I mean? They got wide wings, long wingspans. I can't talk. You know what I mean? Like these are this guys that kind of abnormal when they're running up and down the court. So I think until he figures it out, you got yourself a stretch four if you're able to, you know, work at it. If he's able to work at it, but right now he doesn't have a strong game when it comes to getting to the basket. Like he's still a little bit clumsy. He's a little clumsy with the basketball. But we'll see. I don't know, man. They got a stretch four, I think, in him. He can hit that corner three. We know that.
hmm That is true.
So
Well, I mean,
see.
listen, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. But just real quick, I just wanted to bring back a little something we have talked about in previous episodes. I was wondering, who do you think? I mean, we could both pick one and one, right? Who do you think was the stock
Wait.
rise?
Oh, we're going with the stock. We bring it
Yeah.
back, big stock.
Who do you think is the stock riser and the stock faller of this week's games? This
Oh
probably is
man,
not that hard, um, on one end.
No, I don't know. I may surprise you on the riser. I
Oh, okay.
may surprise you on the riser because we've talked so much about. For me, Randall's game has already arisen. Right? He is taking that step, and that we had him as the riser before. I ain't
Mhm.
going with Randall, so I don't know if you were thinking I was going with Randall, but I am gonna go with. Let's see if we're spot on. Mitchell Robinson.
Oh,
Mitchell
oh,
Robinson is my riser.
okay. No, that is a
He's my
curveball.
riser.
Curveball.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I was
yeah.
going with it.
All right,
How
all
about
right.
you?
My stock riser for this week. I mean, if you just look at the games that he's had, uh, I got to go with RJ. RJ played great this week. I can't, especially these guys are human, right? They and the young guys especially. They're on social media. They see what goes on. They know RJ was getting killed. They were like, "Oh man, this guy. What are we? He's supposed to be the savior of the team. What do we do here? This guy's the third pick. He's
Those are Knicks
getting,
fans for you. We ship them out quick. We're
yeah,
like, yo,
man.
send him back to Canada.
He was getting it, man. And this week he's turned on. He flipped the switch. So I'm
You're
I'm,
right,
I'm going with
because
RJ.
I was kind of down on him that last episode 5. I was kind of down on him, and I had the Barrett shirt. I'm rocking with Barrett. Like I got his, I bought it. I'm like I'm
Yeah,
wearing it. So
yeah.
you know what I mean. I like his temperament. I do. I love his temperament. I love that he tries. You don't see him like bent out of shape or whatever. Like he comes to play and he's kind of like a workman's player. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I give him mad credit. He had a slump. He jumped out of a slump, went back into a small slump. When you thought he was out of it, when he shot the threes with the Pacers, we was like, oh, he's out of it. Then he went back into one. You know what I mean? So listen, he's young. What is he? Is he 20 yet? Is he even 20? I don't even know.
Hmm.
He's young.
He's
You
young.
know, so
I mean,
growing pain.
yeah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But he definitely he showed me something. So if okay, so Red, you said Mitch is your riser. So who's the guy that
You know
fell?
why though? He's my right. I'll give you a little bit because I know you spoke on Barrett. Barrett was amazing. That's a great choice, and I
Mm,
agree with you. He's definitely rising right now. And I say Mitch because, and I'm saying him this week. It's almost a week past, right? So if you go 1 week prior to this week, you look. He was up against like the gauntlet, and he showed up. You know what I
mhm,
mean? He
mhm.
showed up big time. Then he comes into this week playing injured to start this week, and is still putting up enough numbers, not falling out, scoring points in shooting a high percentage, being a defensive. I wouldn't say a stopper, but a pest. He was a defensive pest. One of those guys who's making people take tough shots when they're getting down into the paint. So you
Right.
got to give him all the credit, man. The kid's stepping up. I know he's trying to get a contract. I think he deserves a contract. I'm not really sure what they're trying to give him. If they're, you know what I mean. But I think that we'll lose out if we let him go into free agency. That's not a good look for us. We definitely got to look at that and make sure we make him whole and keep him around for a while, man. He's a young talent who can grow, only grow. You know what I mean?
I'm with you on that. That I agree. I agree. So that's a good point. I forgot about the fact that he's been playing hurt too,
Yeah.
and especially like the past couple games, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, the last two he looked like he got his footing back.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Wow, that's a good point. So okay, so that's your riser with the good backing behind that. Who is the person that fell this week for you?
that's a tough one because like when I'm looking at it, I don't see anyone who's really like stock is dropping. But if I have to go, well, the obvious, right? I don't have to name the obvious. The guys who ain't playing, obviously, our stocks have have,
Oh,
have
yeah, but
fallen short, right?
let's go with
So
guys who actually played but may not.
play,
Yeah,
right? So I'm gonna say I'm gonna. This is a hard one. because even Noel's played well. You know what I mean? And it's like that could be the obvious choice, but I'm gonna say Toppin.
Oh,
And the reason why I say Toppin, and that's no, I'm not trying to throw any shade or hate. I just want to say Toppin, but just because I don't know if he's found his way yet, and I know he's played some solid minutes. He's had some decent games. He just hasn't done them enough consistently enough that he can show like, oh, I deserve more than 10 minutes a game or 15 minutes a game. You know what I mean? And I think he's gonna get there, but I think right now his stock isn't so high. I think he's probably falling a little bit. Um, and yeah, I'll go with Toppin for right now, and I'll give Knox to you.
oh, what makes you think I would pick Knox? Yes, yes, yes. I'm picking Kevin Knox. I think even though Kevin has been playing pretty good basketball for the most part all season, and he's been shooting around the 40% clip for the most
Right.
part, this week wasn't a good week for him. For whatever
Yeah.
reason, um, his shot wasn't falling as consistently. He just didn't. I'm not going to say that he was horrible. He just didn't. You didn't see him. You
Yeah.
didn't notice him. Um, and that's not good, man. That's not good for Kevin because I think he's at the point where every game doesn't have to be a display of, he's got to show out, but he's got to have games where he has presence. Like every
Yeah.
game, he should show that he's there, and he's a
Right.
part of the game. He doesn't have to
Yeah.
put up 20. He could put up 10, but you want to point, oh man, you saw that play Knox made, or he had a big three, like he's been doing. He's had moments where
Yeah.
even, 2 weeks ago, it was a game where he didn't have a great game. I don't know if he finished with like 9 or 10 points, whatever it was, but he hit two big threes in the fourth quarter to help them get the
Right.
win. Like he's just gotta be a part of the game and do something to help the team that, the fans notice, he notices, Thibodeau notices, you know,
Yeah.
he's got to take that step in the right direction. And I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. So this,
I agree with you. I think he's one of those guys who we've been waiting for 3 years now, right? This is his third season or his fourth.
third, I think it's third.
This is
Yeah.
third season. So, we've been waiting a couple of seasons. This is the season that we want to see some upward trajectory in his game. I think he has it in him. It's still early. It's not like we're not 30 games in yet. You know what I mean? So it may happen, or depending on the rotation and what we see, how we see it fill out when Austin Rivers is back healthy, will be the tell signs of whether or not he's falling out of grace with the coach. You know what I mean, or
Yeah.
the coaching staff. So I think I'll agree with you that he didn't have a great week. I'm hoping that he turns it around though, because I really like Knox. I think if we ever come back to that aggressive Knox that I know he could potentially be, we have a steal in that draft as well. So I'm looking for those young kids to step it up, man. And Ron, not for nothing, I really enjoy doing this Knicks stock. Maybe we should just keep this coming.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good addition to the podcast, and I like the
Cool.
fact that even though we're pinpointing and naming guys that may be up or down, that has nothing to do with their talent or what they bring to the team overall. This is just what we've seen from the past week. Now, next week,
Yeah,
Kevin Knox could have
be on
he
the
could be
number
the
one.
rising. Yeah, he could be one of the
Right.
rising. So it all just depends on what people are doing in that given week that we're recapping. So yeah, I
Yeah, yeah.
definitely like it. I definitely like it. So being that we've covered, the games and hit the stock rises and fallers, I think it's time to kind of just take a look at the schedule so we know what we've got coming
Up
up
against.
next week. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause,
I'll pull that up. Let's
yeah,
check
I,
it
I
out.
think
Let's
I
see.
think these next two games especially will be kind of interesting, and I'd love to be wrong again with my predictions, but my predictions are coming.
All
Uh,
right, so tomorrow we have the
Woo!
Portland Trailblazers. Another late game, man. I mean, we hitting this road trip hard, man. We had two late games in the West. So right after the Trailblazers tomorrow or today, depending on when we air this. It'll probably be today. On Sunday night, 10 o'clock, we'll have the Trailblazers. Then we have a day off, and then we run into the Jazz again on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're running into Cleveland. Oh, so we got a 3-game break, 3-day break after that Jazz game, and we're coming. Are we coming home? We're coming home? So
Oh,
we're
that's
back
good.
home for
Yeah.
a couple of games. So that's good because we get some time to practice and get ready for that Cleveland matchup. We've already seen them twice this year. This will be our third time seeing them. So after Friday, and I'll go all the way to the Clippers game, and I'll stop there because then we got Bulls back to back. But Clippers to end the week, we will probably come on after that Friday night game, or we'll meet on a Saturday or Friday night, either one, to talk, to do our recap. But we got the Clippers on that Sunday to finish the week. So interesting week, man. What do you think? What do you got going on? What's your prediction?
Yeah. Well, I gotta be careful with these predictions these days. No. We're gonna go
Listen,
full throttle the way we do it. Okay, because either way, I'm happy. So,
that's right.
Knicks and Blazers. Dame Lillard, as my boy Prophet likes to say, is a dog. So that
That is a fact. Fact Amundo, like my boy L says. L Train be like, fact Amundo.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is true and true.
This guy's a
Listen,
dog.
there's no McCollum, though, right?
No McCullum. That's true. No McCullum. See, once again,
And the center's out.
wow.
So
Okay. That
this
thanks for
changes it.
thanks for giving me that before I make my prediction. But irregardless of that, Dame Dollars, he can figure out a way to win this game by himself. Is what he does. But you know what?
Listen,
And it's going to be Carmelo against the Knicks. You know how that is. Melo likes to go against the Knicks. Hey man, I'm still the elder statesman. I can do a little something. Some
I
games he
feel you.
dropped 20, 22, 24. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
so
yeah.
if that's the case, no McCullum and no center, I'm going with the Knicks winning this game.
Oh, yes,
I'm going
go.
with the Knicks winning this game. Yes, that's right.
Let's go.
Yeah. So the Knicks are going to somehow find a way to pull this one out. And you got
Yeah.
the Knicks versus the Jazz. I am going to go with my initial prediction when the Knicks played the Jazz the first time around. I think the Jazz are going to get this one because they're playing in Utah.
Yeah.
And something's been going on in the NBA. I think Shaq said something about Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell
Mm-hmm.
didn't like it. And I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be proving a point against the Knicks.
Yeah, it was something about they said he wasn't a superstar.
Yeah.
He was a star player, but not a superstar.
Yeah, I think Donovan's gonna come out and drop some buckets on the Knicks. So I'm gonna give that game to the Jazz. Knicks versus Cavaliers. I'm going with the Knicks. I don't care. I don't care who they got. I don't care who's out there. I'm gonna go with the Knicks. And then the
They
Knicks.
just beat Brooklyn, by the way.
No, yeah,
Again,
I know.
2 in a
I'm
row.
I'm going with the Knicks. And then Knicks versus Clippers. This is my aha moment. I'm going with the Knicks.
Get out of town, for real?
I'm going with the Knicks. You know why? Because guess what? Last time I looked at the best defensive team in the league, it's the Knicks. It ain't the Clippers. So I'm going with the Knicks. I'm
Hey,
going.
I like it. I think I know what you're doing here. I think I
Ah,
know what you're doing here. I
ah,
think I know what you're doing. You're playing the odds. So if we win one against the Jazz, we'll probably lose it against the Clippers.
hey,
See where you're going there.
yeah,
You're
no.
trying to make sure you get that that right 2-2
I,
pick.
look, I like it. I think the Knicks. I think the Knicks could beat the Clippers. The Clippers are with Kawhi and Paul George and all the pieces they got over there, and
Right.
oh man, it's gonna be rough. But I think the Knicks can do it. Now, the only thing I will say, if the Knicks come out in that Clippers game and they're not shooting well, then yeah, it's gonna be lost. It might be bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you got to shoot well against the
You
Clippers
gotta shoot well.
for sure.
Yeah,
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 yeah, because they're a defensive-minded team, so you
yeah.
definitely got to bring that. But we're not even going to see them. We're not going to. I think we're going to end up talking about them the following week, to be honest, because we end the week on Friday, so literally it's just a 3-game week for us, and then we'll recap the 3-game week.
Oh, right, that's correct. Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Very
and we'll
true.
go into the Clippers, Bulls, and Bulls because that's a crazy one too. The Bulls have played well this season so
Yeah.
far.
No,
So
the Bulls are looking good this
yeah,
year.
Zach LaVine is in his bag.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
yeah,
woo,
yeah.
showing out.
Yeah, and they got Kobe White over there. They got, they got
They
some
got
guy,
some players.
and they drafted that guy. You know,
Yeah, Stewart was it?
no, it's Patrick.
Stewart?
Patrick. Yeah,
Patrick Williams, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good player too.
Hmm.
So they're an interesting team. So, like I said, we're going to see we got a 3-game week. So you're saying that we're going to be uh 2
Two
and
and one.
1. 2 and 1 this week. I like that. Listen, we're up. I like when we're up. That
Yeah,
brings
man.
us 2 and 1. We'll be 1 game over 500. I like that.
Yeah, stay. The Knicks
Listen,
need to stay around that 500 point. Don't get too
yeah,
high.
man.
Don't get too low. That because that's not their team. They can't. They're not going to go 10 games over 500. That's not the Knicks yet. But if they
Right.
stay around there, a couple games here and there, just play the season out. I'm
Yeah,
with it.
for sure. Yeah, man. Well, that's great. That's a nice prediction. I'm not gonna go against it. I like those calls. Looking forward to next week's games, man.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, once again, man, I'm just happy that we're able to get here and get together and talk about these Knicks. It's a good thing that we're able to talk about some victories and some good performances. That makes talking about them a lot easier.
It does, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They take
Um,
that frown and made it into a smile. So
yeah. So definitely thank you everyone for tuning in. We'll be back again next week with episode 7. But definitely check us out. On YouTube, Still Nick Fans. Catch us on Twitter at Still Nick Fans. You can catch us on Instagram at Still Nick Fans. And if you want to send us messages, definitely send it to either myself, Ron, or you can reference John, either one of us. you know we
yeah,
appreciate all the love, and we're going to keep coming back to you with more and more content as we go, bigger and better every week. It's going to get bigger and better.
we're gonna try our best to get it to a place where we are really comfortable utilizing what we have in front of us, and also adding a few new segments to our show. Um, we'll see you in the next couple of weeks. We may come up with something brand new, and introduce that. Definitely subscribe, hit the like button, share out with friends. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. And if you get a chance and you're on our Twitter feed, send us a message. Let us know why you're still a Knicks fan. Like what, right? Like I want to hear that story. I want to hear the story from the fans. Why are you still a Knicks fan?
Yeah,
Because
that'd be
we know
great.
who we are.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And also, new to the social media platforms, we've decided to start putting our episodes on SoundCloud. So if it's easier for you people who are out there that want to, work out in the gym, or work out at home or whatever, or driving and can't watch YouTube, you can get on SoundCloud and check us out. We'll upload this episode in the next few hours or so, and you'll have that to be able to listen to. Also, look for us because we might, you might see that we will go live on Sportscaster from here and there. Different moments. You never know what to expect.
That is true. Maybe we'll schedule something and put it out there on the Twitter world and give some people a heads up. And maybe on YouTube we can simulcast it one day.
Yeah,
But yeah, check us out on Sportscaster when you guys get a chance. We got some content up there. I think we got one out the box.
Yeah. So the people out there that are listening, we're trying to cover all angles, but they bear with us. We're still working. We're still working. We're work in progress.
Exactly. I'm glad y'all enjoyed another episode. This is our number 6 of Still Knick Fans. Thank you guys for tuning in, all of you. Appreciate the love.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Take it easy, my brother.
Later, my bro.
All right.